unforgettable. That's what you are.
This is Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. I'm here at the 2011 IFBB Flex Pro Show. We are here after the men's finals just took place. A new champion has been crowned, or a first-time champion has been crowned, Evan Centopani. He continues his unbeaten streak to 2 pro wins in 2 attempts, and I gotta say that he's gotta be the man to beat going into that Arnold Classic. The momentum he has is unbelievable. You predicted it. You said Evan was going to take this show, even though a lot of people predicted Dexter, including myself. Give me your input on and your insights into what happened this weekend.
Well, I have seen most of the best bodybuilders in the world up close before. Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Dexter Jackson, Victor Martinez, Evan, of course.
At the young age of 28, he's seen all this.
Well, I've been around the industry for a while, and seeing them all up close, I've seen them all in peak condition, and with the exception of Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, Evan was the most impressive bodybuilder I have ever seen in front of my own face before. And seeing everybody else, I just knew that there was no way that anybody was going to be able to beat him.
And as you know,
when he says, Dave, that he saw him up close, he means he saw him really, really close.
No, you're right, Aaron, because you scanned him all weekend long, and you saw the progression, I guess, as the weekend transpired. Tell us a little bit about Evan's focus when he does these shows, because he rented his own beach house, right? Talk to it.
Yeah, Evan, he's an extremely diligent worker. He's very, very focused. He's very cerebral. He likes to do things his own way. The host hotel did not have kitchens, so he wanted his own place with his own kitchen so he could prepare his own food, so he could control everything that went in his body. He doesn't want to worry about anything outside that. So he found himself, he went online and he found a apartment right on the beach, right on Venice Beach. And it was a good price, actually. It was pretty cheap. I might come out here and stay there. And he came out on Tuesday, got all his food, and he's been just preparing his whole food the whole time. And I got out Thursday night, and I stayed with him so I could be his extra eye when he needed it. And I think it was a great move for him to do that, just to keep himself away from everybody else.
I thought Evan tonight, looked sharper but flatter than he did this morning. I think his morning look was a better look. He obviously has I don't mean to put this on you, but his tan was not as dark as it should be. Do you think that Evan should go to the spray tanning process possibly for the Arnold Classic?
Possibly. I think one thing with Evan is he doesn't tan at all. He will not go in tanning beds. So he's very, very white to start. I think because of that, he probably needs more coats than the extra person, possibly even start a day earlier, get it to sit into his skin a little bit longer. That will all be remedied for the Arnold, so I'm not worried about it.
Well, Dexter Jackson, who arguably was the favorite in everyone's mind going into this show, except maybe PJ's, has to feel a little disappointed here after placing second to Evan Centopani, a guy he figured that he was never going to lose to. That has to, Aaron, bring his stock a little lower going into that Arnold Classic. What's your impression?
I have to say that I would imagine that, yes, it probably does bring his stock lower. I mean, like we talked about originally on the radio show before, that this was a really, really big risk for Dexter Jackson. He came in here with a lot to lose and almost nothing to gain other than the money, the prize money.
Which is why he was probably here.
Of course. But because if he lost to anybody or any circumstance, even if it was very close, even if he would have won tonight just by a little bit, by a point or several points, it would have been it would have lowered his stock. So yeah, it definitely lowered his stock, and I think that because of this, he's certainly not going to come in looking with a Branch Warren, a Victor Martinez, or now an Evan Centopani. He won't be a top 3 contender coming in.
He could theoretically be pushed out of that top 3.
He could definitely.
And I talked to Dexter Jackson and his trainer Joe McNeil backstage, and they said that Dexter had been battling with holding water for a couple of days. They just couldn't get his body to drop this water, whether he's sick, whether there's something else going on that they're not sure of. I know they're going to get a full medical workup on him to make sure that he's in peak condition for the Arnold Classic. Let's talk about maybe the surprise of the night, Fouad Abiad, who slips into third there, defeating Dennis Wolfe. I thought he came back tonight. He was fuller, he was harder, his color was good, his presentation was good. This guy, I think, in my mind at least, raises his level of competitiveness up when he gets on stage because of all these little small things he keeps in track.
And those little things, like we just talked about earlier today, are very, very important. And presentation is huge in this sport, and he's very, very polished. And he brought some really nasty condition. He improved all his weaknesses. I like his physique. He has a very powerful physique. I think that he could definitely be a threat now at the Arnold to crack maybe even the top 5 if some of those guys are off.
Possibly. He's a guy who shows up and no one expects him to do anything, and then he went to being the most conditioned guy on stage.
I think it was at first it was very close between him and Dennis Wolfe, and then when they turn around from the back, he has the hamstring definition. Literally, his hamstrings are split. And he's got his glute striations in where Dennis didn't have any, and that's really what put him over the top with Dennis.
I'm going to say one thing about Dennis Wolfe. Dennis has an unbelievable physique from the front and the sides. As a matter of fact, I thought he won a couple of those poses from the front and the sides. And, when he turns around, his upper back is phenomenal, but he's got a very long distance between his lat attachment and his waist, which gives the impression of missing muscle. And his glutes, they were not that sharp tonight, and they're also a little undersized. So I think if he brings that up, he's Mr. Olympia material. Can he do it? Who knows?
And his shoulders are literally like a good inch wider.
They're wider than Jay's.
Yeah, he is that wide. So, I don't know how you bring up low lat attachments, so that's going to be a problem. But like you said, his glutes, he actually had a line under the glutes. He had a little bit of fold of skin, and he's got to get rid of that. But in 2 weeks.
That cost him, in my mind, I think, his third place, which he should have gotten.
Oh, I agree, for sure. I still think that a Dennis Wolfe at his best does not beat Evan Centopani at his best. So this makes the Arnold a lot more interesting, considering Dennis Wolfe was 5th place at Mr. Olympia this year.
Right. In 5th place, finishing tonight, Ben Pakulski, who I got to say made some of the best improvements that I've seen of any of the bodybuilders on stage. He put a lot of size on, and all he needs to do is bring in his level of conditioning, and when he does, he's going to be a very dangerous competitor. Wouldn't you say, PJ?
I agree. He said he had a really, really rough time prepping for this show, too. He didn't specify what it was. He said he shouldn't even have been on stage, but he was able to pull everything together, so kudos to him for doing that.
I think Ben Pakulski might have the most potential of any of the finishes here tonight, moving into the future and doing future shows. I also want to mention something that we're wearing, official RX Muscle wardrobe, Hot Bods. I want to thank Mark from Hot Bods. And
not PJ. We couldn't find a big enough one for PJ. We fit the XXX. PJ, they need the 6 or 7X, and unfortunately, we didn't have any of those available.
I got to just say, though, I love these shirts.
Very nice.
And they're the only shirts that fit me the right way. They're tapered in the waist, and they look great. But, it was a great show all in all. I want to say congratulations to Evan Centopani. I worked with him originally when he first started out, and I'm very proud of him. I feel like a father that's seeing his son, move on to bigger and better things. And I think that he's got to be one of the favorites going into that Arnold, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Unforgettable.
You might be wondering why we're standing outside in the rain right now, in the night sky. But it's because we got kicked out of the theater. They were closing up shop, and we had to terminate the interview, unfortunately. But we were talking about Evan Centopani. You were give me this quote that he gave you, because I thought it was very insightful.
Yes, right before we left to come here tonight, it was very, very quiet. And Evan had said to me, "Do you ever feel really lucky?" And I said, "Well, at the moment, no. But I suppose I have before." And he said, "I feel really, really lucky. All the things that have happened to me in my life, all the things that have happened to me in bodybuilding, I feel very, very fortunate." And he was quiet for a minute, and he said, "Outside circumstances are dictated by inner thoughts." And then he said, "Let's go." And we came here, and he won.
Well, he's got a very strong mindset for sure, and that's definitely helping him, obviously, to achieve what he wants. But he's also got some great genetic gifts and a great work ethic. Mm-hmm. And I always say you make your own luck. And Chewbacca, I want your final impressions of the show, what you thought about it, and where you think Evan is heading in the future.
I think that my final impression of the show was that the show was great. I enjoyed it. It was well put on. I felt like I was happy with how the competitors did, and I was happy with the result. I felt like it was judged fairly, and I was excited to see how everybody placed. I thought that really I agreed with all the placings, and I guess that's really what it comes down to,
But as my last impressions for the night, I want to say one thing. I predicted when I first started working with Evan that one day he would be Mr. Olympia, and I still stand by that. Tonight I feel even better about that, what I said. Aaron's tapping me on the back. What?
No, I just wanted to think of what you thought of Evan's acceptance speech. I thought it was cool that he had a chance to go up there and say thank you and tell the fans, give the fans, and it kind of reminded me of like an Oscar Arden speech, about basically, whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve.
And that's what we talked about in before. And I think that Evan definitely visualizes himself as Mr. Olympia. And I think even Jay Cutler gave him some kudos and said he was very impressed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he told me the first text message he got when he got off stage tonight was from Jay Cutler and saying, "Hey, man, you really kicked ass tonight."
You sat next to Jay Cutler. What did he say about Evan?
I had the pleasure of sitting next to Mr. Olympia for the whole night show pretty much. And he agreed with all the placings, all the callings. And he told me from very early on that he believed that Evan was good enough so that it was unquestionable that Evan would take it tonight.
Will Evan win the Arnold Classic in 2 weeks from today? That's the question all the fans want answered. He still has to meet up against Victor Martinez, Branch Warren. But for now, Evan is the king. I want to say congratulations, and I want to sign off on a very positive note. I want to tell you guys you did a great job. I really enjoy working with you, and I'm looking forward to work with you guys again at the Arnold.
No more pretending to kiss you or Aaron anymore. I'll stop.
I was going to do a group hug, but since he said that, now.
For now, I'm Dave Palumbo with Aaron Chewbacca Seaman and PJ Braun, rxmuscle.com.